with the rise of anti-Semitism, we as the church cannot be blind to the realities of what's happening around us. We must stand with our brothers and sisters in Israel and for the Jewish brothers and sisters we have in our city as well.
She told me, you know, I'm an Auschwitz graduate, that's how she said, and I think that you are right. I think that you cannot remember. I think that the memories are mine and not yours. But you know, I'm not gonna stay here forever. That's how she said. And when I leave, I want you to just make sure no one forgets.
Everyone was just in their seat, waiting and happy to be listening to what was going on. I had never seen anything like that. I even said to them, thank you, because after all, who wants to hear from us? But they did. It was an honest afternoon where I felt love.
What we experienced in Kingwood was the fact that we could bring Holocaust education to the community. Sometimes we leave it at the university level or we leave it as an academic subject, but here to bring the experience to the people that lived in our community, and the fact that we as different Christian communities could come together and do that. We began at the Kingwood United Methodist Church and we marched together down Woodland Hills to St. Martha's Church, and there we had our service of remembrance.
When actually our battle is not over yet. We didn't win just because we have the state of Israel now. We're still facing both anti-Semitic problems and challenges and both anti-Israel challenges. We see people, even here in America, that would not allow Israelis to speak in universities under different assumptions, because they support boycott or because they support divestment or because they support sanctions. They would not buy Israeli product and hurt Israeli families that need this money to live. They will speak about Israel and the relation of its neighbors without realizing that Israel has the right to exist. Think about any other nation that is member of the UN, that there's so many questions 65 years after the nation is already have a state, that still the existence of the nation is under a question. Do you know any other country like that? Yeah.
But we're with Israel because every preacher in the city of Houston, we can't go in the Bible without mentioning Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And so we're walking through that same promise. We understand many of the pain, and we can understand it a whole lot better than a lot of individuals. But we're only as good when we're standing shoulders to shoulder. When Dr. King was marching in the civil rights movement, there were many of the Jewish brothers and sisters marching right along with him. And that, I promise you, we shall never forget.
The Jewish community does many such Holocaust observances. To share one with brothers and sisters of other faiths is a very important moment, because it says that while this is something that happened to the Jewish people, this is something that could happen to anybody. And while there were overwhelmingly twice as many Jews who were murdered than anybody else, that there were other groups.
Many Germans after the war were hiding behind the sentence, "We didn't know." Better be changed into "We didn't want to know." And were closing their eyes right from the beginning to the end, betraying those who lived with them side by side. And this is why I'm here today, to speak about what happened in my family, to find the words my grandfathers didn't say, and how sorry I am for what they did.
We want to do this 7 times or 6 times over here in Houston all at once. I thought, whoa, time out. But sometimes, we can't slow it down to get on our schedule. If it's God's schedule, we have to speed up to get on His schedule. And so apparently that's what's going on around here. And this is going to take a significant effort. Time, effort, commitment. It's going to take sharing this vision with others rapidly so that they'll come alongside and that this will come about.
I believe we're at a critical place in our country. The soul of our nation is at stake, the soul of a generation. And if the heart of this nation and the heart of the church doesn't awaken and to rise up to take responsibility and stand with Israel and stand with our brothers and sisters, then our future will be diminished. Our future is directly connected to how we deal with our relationship to Israel and to our Jewish brothers and sisters.
Hello and best greetings from Tübingen, Germany, to wherever you may be watching. I am pleased to be able to tell you about the March of Remembrance. People actually keep asking me, why do we need the March of Remembrance in America? What do we have to do with the Holocaust? Isn't that a German thing? Was it not the Americans who defeated the Nazis in 1945? Was it not us who ended the horror of the concentration camps? This is true. We Germans are infinitely grateful to you Americans for the faith you invested in us. Without the Berlin airlift, for example, securing the city's food supply, Germany would not have been able to survive. 70 years later, however, the world looks different. The church has grown tired and is without power. I think it is true for both America and Germany. Even if the numbers are large, the churches are without authority to change their nation. Secular and worldly thinking has found its way into the church, and the mark is silent. We must no longer be indifferent, as we were in Germany, and 6 million Jews were killed. Our indifference held us under a veil of silence. Today, our silence in our churches in America, Germany, or any other nation can make us accomplices of a new Holocaust in Israel if we remain indifferent. And that's why we need the March of Remembrance and the Marches of Life worldwide. So we call you and challenge you, irrespective of where you are. Arise and shine. Come out for Holocaust Memorial Day, Yom HaShoah. Take every opportunity to take to the streets. Honor survivors of the Holocaust. Bless them. Raise your voices against anti-Jewish sentiments and for Israel. And break the darkness.